as soon as the Javelin's sensors caught the heat from the tank's engine. The outcome was almost predictable. Within seconds, the missile hit the most vulnerable spot, as if it knew exactly where to dive. More than 8 armored vehicles weighing tens of tons were driving confidently on the front line, until in a matter of seconds, something in the distance changed everything. The Russian combat vehicle continued moving as usual, unaware that, from afar, a system had already locked onto its engine's heat. What happened next left only one question. How could such a small weapon defeat such a large war machine? In an open sector of unfavorable terrain, a column of Russian armored vehicles is seen advancing in a well-organized formation. This type of movement is typically done to maintain coordination between vehicles, ensure each unit has room to maneuver, and minimize the risk of passing through an unsafe area. The Russian armored guided vehicle detected the enemy tank and then took action. Russian armored columns continued to move in formation. Their target was to control the area guarded by Ukrainian troops, but they were unaware that their armored columns had escaped the monitoring of Ukrainian drone operators. Ukrainian drone operators continue to monitor the movements of Russian armored columns. From a different location, Ukrainian troops carrying javelins had received information about the positions of the Russian armored columns. When their positions were locked, the javelins neutralized the movements of the Russian armored columns, one by one. 2 Russian armored vehicles withdrew after their guides were disabled, but the Ukrainian javelins did not stop, continuing to neutralize the Russian columns. In the distance, a column of Russian armored vehicles moved in neat formation. Tanks and APCs maintained a measured distance, each positioned in a zigzag pattern to reduce the risk of being attacked from a single direction. They did not move hastily, but slowly and methodically, a sign that they knew the area was potentially under surveillance. In the air, a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone orbited at a safe altitude. Its primary task was not to attack, but to provide a snapshot of the situation, identifying movement paths, measuring the column's speed, and ensuring no vehicles were attempting to deceive with false formations. From aloft, the drone transmitted a real-time feed to a small Ukrainian infantry unit several kilometers away, hidden behind the terrain and trees. This Ukrainian unit was an anti-armor team equipped with Javelin systems. They worked quietly, not as an attacking force, but as a team responding to threats based on intelligence. The information from the drone made their work much more structured. They knew the direction of the column's movement, the blind spots of the vehicle formation, and the best locations to lock on targets if the situation demanded. As soon as one of the armored vehicles enters a safe firing zone, the Javelin is released. The missile automatically maneuvers according to the selected firing mode. The primary goal is to neutralize the vehicle's mobility, causing the column to stop or change formation. The team only fires when necessary, following protocol. Several other vehicles eventually stop or scatter for cover, disrupting the column's progress. From a military analysis perspective, this is the desired effect: impeding mobility, not simply calculating damage. And combat is not just about who has the upper hand, but how information, sensors, and tactical decisions work together. In this operation, the collaboration between reconnaissance drones, small infantry units, and modern anti-armor systems demonstrates how modern warfare increasingly relies on data coordination and precision rather than brute force. Coordination between Ukrainian ground teams and drone units continues. Their role is not simply to locate targets, but rather to something far more important: ensuring the area they are guarding remains safe from potential penetration by Russian armored vehicles. Ukrainian troops do not move randomly. They employ a layered surveillance concept, with each layer having a distinct task. First layer. High-flying drones map the direction of Russian column movements. Second layer. Lower flying drones provide details: vehicle types, distances between units, and the direction of tank turret rotation. Third layer. Ground teams equipped with anti-armor systems are prepared to restrict movement if necessary. This concept allows Ukrainian troops to be proactive rather than reactive. In the locations they guard, whether small settlements, supply routes, or other key points, Ukrainian troops must ensure that armored columns cannot enter undetected. Unmonitored tank movements can threaten defensive positions, disrupt logistical supplies, or force Ukrainian units to retreat from stable lines. Therefore, active surveillance is a vital part of the operation. In this situation, drones are not just tools for recording video, but also aerial sensors that provide early warning. If we look more closely at the dynamics of movement on the Ukrainian front lines, one thing consistently emerges: modern warfare is now highly dependent on information. It's not just about who shoots first, but who sees the enemy's movement first. In the situation we're discussing, Ukrainian forces rely on a combination of reconnaissance drones and Javelin anti-armor systems. These two elements work as a unified whole, one observing from the air and the other guarding from the ground. Let's start with the Ukrainian unit. They deploy drones as their primary sensors. These drones continuously monitor the movements of the Russian armored column from a safe distance. Every change in formation, every acceleration, even every unit that breaks away from the column, all of this is recorded and immediately transmitted to ground teams. This way, Ukrainian forces can understand the big picture without putting themselves too close to risk. On the other hand, Ukrainian anti-armor units carry Javelin missile systems. The Javelin isn't just a tool for attack. In this context, it serves as part of a deterrent strategy. This system has thermal imaging and target lock capabilities, allowing for quick defensive options if armored vehicles attempt to approach the area they are guarding. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what they're up against. The Russian column moving in this scenario is a fairly well-armored formation. At the front are usually main tanks like the T-72 or T-80, designed to clear the way. Behind them, infantry fighting vehicles like the BMP-2 or BMP-3 provide cover for the troops they transport. Then, at the rear, are support vehicles like the BTR-82A command units and logistics vehicles. This formation allows Russia to move in an orderly fashion and be ready to respond to threats from multiple directions. However, large formations like this also have limitations. They struggle to move quickly when constantly under aerial surveillance. And this is where the collaboration between drones and the Javelin team proves crucial.